Hello, travelers! Welcome back to another episode of the Friendgame Podcast. Alex and Ian here again. We took some time off because we moved, but now the moving is done.
Now we're
Fuck
off
yeah.
our lazy asses.
Well, I mean, we're still on our lazy asses, just in new rooms.
we're some would say that we're about like 5 feet apart.
Through this wall, I could look at the back of Alex's head.
That is true.
But yeah, so we're back. We took some extra time off just so we made sure we had everything organized. Alex was dominating our living room for a little bit, so now he's actually in his own room with his computers. So
yeah, it would be. You imagine how the audio would have sounded if the AC was on while I was in that room, dude.
You like literally would have had to just turn it off.
It would have
been able to. You would have been inside a jet engine.
And we all know how that sounds like.
Yeah, no, thank you. We're trying to get everything sounding right too, because not only are we in different rooms, but I have a new microphone, so we're trying to get all that sorted out too. So hopefully it sounds all right. We're gonna continue to work on that.
I think you sound good.
Yeah, it's looking good for now. So we'll see if it's all balanced right and everything too. So. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
If it isn't figured out, put in the comments, hey guys, figured it. So then we know.
Yeah. Do we have some other things to say? Nothing super planned out right now for a set with the camera. We'll figure that out at some point.
Yeah.
But right
one
now,
thing at a time.
Yeah. One thing at a time. Ian just got a new mic, so for now, you guys are stuck with our boxes.
Yes. I have to figure out how to not be ugly before we show my visage on camera.
Oh yeah, you're right. Maybe after the wedding that we have to go to, maybe that would be a good time, huh?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm just saying that, maybe we might look a little better by then, but we'll see. All right.
All right, so into the topic for today. This is episode 18, I think we're on now.
Bro.
I didn't actually go and look, but I just kind of guesstimated. Episode 18. Inspiration for today's topic is kind of based on recent events. Alex recently participated in a fun homebrew D&D campaign, tabletop RPG. And I could hear through the wall that he was fucking enjoying himself. I heard at one point you were like banging on your desk because you were laughing so hard. I was like, oh shit, what the hell is going on in there?
It was very funny. There were some names that changed in the Discord that we're part of because of that campaign, which is really
really?
Funny. Yep.
That's pretty funny.
Have you seen Michelle's name?
Oh no, wait, let me.
There's a story behind that.
Oh, her name is just Karen.
Yeah, there's a story behind that.
I'll have to hear the story later. But yeah, so because of that, and afterwards, Alex was so excited because of how fun it was telling me about it, and then we were kind of reminiscing back and forth between the two of us, like some of our homebrew campaigns and stuff that we've done, and then also, since we've moved, we're near some more friends that kind of are interested in getting into some D&D tabletop RPG type stuff. So we thought it would be fun to, while it's on our minds, talk about tabletop RPGs like we have in the past, but focusing more on like our own homebrew campaigns. Just because anyone who's done a homebrew campaign kind of knows, like when you're spending all this time writing and creating, places and events and people and stuff, you kind of get invested into it.
Oh yeah.
So we thought it'd be fun to talk about the ones we've had, and also like from this is like the tabletop RPG episode is from the creative lens and not from like the systems themselves lenses like we've done in the past, where we talked about Fate and 5e and Pathfinder and stuff. That's like talking about the game, but now we're going to talk about like the creative part, which is
we're going to talk about the fun stuff.
A big part of it, yeah. So I guess we can start off with what are some of the campaigns that we have both created, because I've done one where I was like the DM, where I wrote and created stuff for it, and you've done what, two others? 2 or 3 others. I don't remember how many you've created. I think it's just the 2 that I've been a part of.
I know for sure that I've done 2. I think there was a third one that I wanted to do, but that ended up being in the second one. Because initially, for Pathfinder, I wanted to write something similar that happened in the second one, or in the second campaign I ended up running. But I just reused a lot of the worlds and the characters and stuff from my original campaign idea into that one.
Sweet. So do you want to go into, like, kind of describe what the 2 you did make were?
Yes.
Just, like, for starters?
Yeah. So the first one that I did was a Fate campaign. So this was set in the Fate game system, and it was set in a world where it was set in a world in which people were had the ability to use elemental magic or magic in general, and those magics were essentially tied to some sort of theme or skill that they had, gameplay wise. World wise, that was like the thing, and I definitely ripped it off of multiple different anime that I had watched at the time. So that's why we had called the campaign, or we had dubbed the campaign Anime Fate, was because it was essentially like an anime. It played out very similarly that way because I took as many tropes as possible for that. But the world that was created was that there were a bunch of different schools, and all the like mages would go to these schools to sort of pursue career paths in using those abilities, whether it was something military wise, or was something in medical because they had healing magic, all kinds of other stuff. And then we had a bunch of like different sort of ruling factions, ruling kingdoms that would send their students to these schools because they wanted good representation of their kingdom at these different schools. So
they're like big academies. So like it's very like there's like, oh shit, like this person's here and they're like from this prestigious family or some shit. So that was some of the characters that we ran into.
Oh yeah. We had a good cast of like player characters as well.
That we had. It was really funny, because there was like our party was 3 player characters, then Alex had a DMPC, and we checked all the boxes. Like we had the big strong fighter main character guy. So like your Goku, your Naruto, you're like, that kind of character. Yep. And that was me, of course. Of course. If you know me, that makes so much sense. So I mean, whatever. Then we had the edgelord character who like used shadow magic and was like kind of an asshole to everybody, and like so he's like
the loner type character.
The loner character, yeah. So he's like, we had the Naruto and the Sasuke just right off the bat.
Yep. And you guys were homies.
Yeah,
which was even funnier.
And like in universe we were just like classmates and buddies and shit. So that was funny. And then our third player character, one of our buddies, Tyler, who we've actually mentioned on the podcast before, he played a reincarnation of one of his characters that he plays all the time, and he played the Kudere archetype character, the girl who's very like stoic, stone faced, shows no emotions, like very like to the point with everything kind of character, which is just another anime trope we see all the time. So. It was actually it was like my character versus the 2 serious characters, which led to some funny moments I remember. So that was pretty fun.
Yeah. I thought it was hilarious. I learned a lot from that campaign too. That world was really fun to create because I could do anything, a bunch of really like tropey things, but it was fun. It was a lot of fun. It was like the first was the episode, because I labeled them in episodes 2 and in season based on like how long we were going in sessions. And I remember in episode 1 that we had the trope too of like the main guy like off screen or is walking through a part of the academy that he wasn't supposed to at the time, and then catches a glimpse of like the royal princess from a different kingdom, and then they try and talk to her, and then they just like nothing happens. She just like shuts them out. Yeah, I remember that. I don't know if you remember that.
I think so. Yeah, I remember I was late to the first day at like the very beginning, and we were just like, oh yeah, check that box too. That's in every school anime ever. Might as well fucking do it here. Like that was really funny. I just like the thing that I liked a lot about like all the shit that we did in the campaign was like, yes, it was really stupid, but because all of us playing were like, we like got all the jokes because we all like watch anime, so like when Alex makes dumb jokes about anime tropes like that, we are all like, yep, got it, knew it immediately what was happening. And I was just like playing to your audience like really well, so like that's something like we're gonna get into here, like what we think you should add into your campaigns to like make them fun and memorable for your party members and stuff. And that's one of them. I think it's just knowing off the bat what your like your quote unquote audience is, what your players like, and then tailoring the world towards that. It just like makes it super fun, and it also makes it easier to make stuff because you know people are going to enjoy it and want to interact with it and stuff. So right off the bat, we already had a good formula going because we were all anime watchers.
Yeah.
And knew that going in that it was going to be kind of like that, so we all just leaned real hard into it.
Yeah. I didn't have to get like super duper creative because a lot of the scenes, a lot of the interactions and stuff, like the players took care of it, a lot of it for me. I just had to come up with or remember like different particular funny scenes from my favorite animes and kind of like reincorporate it into, into the setting. I did enjoy that world. I will be doing that one again. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's the one where we have some other fans who haven't done D&D before and also fit that mold of like, we all watch anime, so like we would all get it, and Fate is an easy enough system to like pick up and just play because it's less rules, so we can just like dick around and role play and stuff. So yeah. I'm excited for when we do that because it should be a lot of fun. Yeah, it was fun the first time, and I'm totally down to just replay all of it.
Yeah, it'll be fun to revisit that, just slightly different, but
yeah, of course, it'll be just like a different arc in the show.
It'll be the spin-off show.
Exactly. Yeah. So that was the first one. That was the Fate campaign. Did you want to talk about what the other one was too, just briefly, and then we'll get into like what you did and how you added things that you thought would be fun for the players.
Yeah. Was it the second campaign I ran was a Pathfinder campaign, and it was set in a kind of your typical fantasy world.
Probably your fantasy adventuring world.
Yeah. I took inspiration from some things to make the overall plot kind of similar to some things, but it was like a weird combination of a bunch of different fantasy games and stuff that I had enjoyed. The funny part was incorporating like what I was playing at the time into the game too, because that's where like the weird Monster Hunter stuff like encounters came into the
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I have a tendency of doing weird shit off of like what I think would be what I think other people would enjoy over just like going by the books, because I think every campaign I've ever played has never been like a by the books kind of thing. So,
but I would agree. I would agree with that because I did the same thing for the campaign that I created and ran as well.
Yeah, that one took place in a world where there was like a big war that happened, and then a central city was created, and our adventuring party was outside the city and then came into the city and then was questing out to find things to deal with the problem at hand. We had a DNPC that one too. I think she was
a sorceress.
She was an elf.
Want to remember? She was, yeah.
Yeah, she was funny. She was fun to roleplay. That's for sure.
Yeah, because who was it? It was that character. My character is a holy gun paladin.
Yep.
Which is one of the coolest characters that I had ever played and created. Because that was so much fun. That was combining like two of my favorite things ever.
You were Doom Guy.
I was Doom Guy pretty much because Doom Guy is a paladin. I don't care what anybody says. Lawful good doesn't mean lawful pretty.
Doesn't mean that you can't shotgun people.
Yeah, lawful good isn't lawful stupid. I'm still gonna fucking murder some demons. So.
Exactly. And then,
so we had that. We had was she like a human barbarian?
Yeah, she was a human barbarian, I believe.
And that was that person's first time playing D&D, so we were like, "Yo, just like be the BSF, you'll be fine."
Well, I thought it was hilarious because like she roleplayed her character so well.
She roleplayed her character very well. Yeah, it was really funny.
It was very, very funny. And then
our last one was an Arcane Trickster, right? Was that
Yep.
that one, or was that a different campaign?
That was that one.
That one? Okay, yeah. Arcane Trickster is a cool class. It's like mage and rogue in one.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
That was
one of the Pathfinder like multi-class classes.
Yeah, that was a mage combined with a rogue, essentially. So
yeah, so you could like backstab with magic attacks and stuff. Like it was gonna be really sweet.
you could also pickpocket from range.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Awesome.
That was also the character that rolled the first 20 of the campaign.
Well, yeah, she fucking beat somebody with a stick.
Yep. Right over the head, and they instantly died.
That's funny.
Oh man.
But yeah, the thing I remember and liked about that campaign was, like you were saying, since we were like kind of playing Monster Hunter at the time, some of the quests we were doing were just literally just like Monster Hunter quests. Just like it was just fun to do it in like a different setting, just because we were playing so much of that game anyways.
Yeah.
And the fucking the people we ran into, and that was a good like party members to play with, just because like we all knew each other really well, and like you said, our one character was being roleplayed very well, so I was like actually just laughing constantly.
Yeah.
We were doing that.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Role playing the like DNPC was a lot of fun with everyone else being on the same page.
Yeah, there was even like some stealthy sections in that kind of towards the end of when we were playing that I thought were pretty cool. It wasn't like exactly a combat, but it was still really engaging because we all had to think about what the hell we were doing.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
Yeah, story wise, that part was finding a way into the ancient city and then traversing it, because there were like ancient. It was an ancient dwarven city essentially. I remember this because I wrote this. I don't have the writing, but I do remember this very well. It was an ancient dwarven city that was lost the deal, or had originally made a deal with a god, but then they turned on that god, and the god ended up collapsing the city. But all of the ancient machinery that the dwarves had made had still sprung to life, and then everyone in that city had died essentially. And our party had to find a way in, and then when we found the way in, we had to find a way around all of these weird machinery.
And the one other small detail that I remember was my favorite thing ever was the mountain range in the world you made was called the Silver Expanse, and I thought that was just the coolest name of anything ever.
Yep, that was towards the north. That was the north part of the map that I had created, because I wanted an Arctic region, and I wanted something hidden behind the Arctic region, and the reason why people don't really go that way. So I was looking up names, and I found a random name generator, and I was like clicking through, just like hitting randomize multiple times, and that showed up, and I was like, that's a really cool name, and that's a good way of
so cool.
That's a good way of hiding like the town of like essentially nerd mages, where that's all they do. You know, they study magic, they experiment with things, and that's what that city was. But it's a great place to hide it because no one's gonna fucking walk through basically a tundra.
Yeah, I just thought that the name was cool and also simultaneously gave you just a perfect description of what it would look like.
Right. As soon as you hear
cool.
that, you're like, oh, that's a place that we probably shouldn't go.
Yeah, just like literally just like as far as the eye could see, just like wintry wasteland. Like,
Yep.
That's immediately what I thought of, and it just like that just sticks with me because that was just so cool. It's so like actually perfect for what it was like supposed to represent. So that was awesome.
Honestly, I really did enjoy that world and the story there. Maybe we'll revisit that too. We'll see.
Yeah, like all good D&D campaigns, it's hard to keep them going for an extended period of time just because people are so busy. So
yeah. But that was a lot of fun.
Because again, the one that I created and ran, we only did one session of.
That was still really funny.
I had a fun time doing that one.
Your campaign was actually very good.
Yes, I guess I can describe a little bit what mine was. Mine was also a fate campaign, so using the fate system because it was, it fit more because what I wanted to do was be really creative and kind of change all the rules. And be super customizable because what I did was it was a Borderlands themed campaign. If people are familiar with the Borderlands video game series, I don't remember like why exactly we decided to do that, but I was like, yo, let me read up a Borderlands campaign real quick. So I kind of made it my own. Like it was on a different planet, so it wasn't on Pandora or any of the planets in Borderlands 3 because it was before Borderlands 3 came out. I'm fairly certain. So the story of it was that it took place after what I called like the Handsome Jack incident, which was the events at the end of Borderlands 2, if you've played that, where there's like a bunch of vaults that open up kind of like across the galaxy. So this was supposed to take place in one of those other planets that got like triggered to open. So that's where our three party members were vault hunters on this planet that I don't actually remember the name of it. But the fun part about writing stuff for that campaign is that Borderlands is already just like super funny and not serious and takes references from a bunch of other like video games and media in general. So it was really fun to just like throw random shit into the campaign because that's what Borderlands does. It's just like, oh hey, look, here's a random Dark Souls reference for no fucking reason, or oh hey, here's like a random Yo Mama joke that a character says because I don't know, it's funny. Like so, I just did that constantly, so that was really fun.
Yeah.
The part I was dreading is that it's a Borderlands game, so like Claptrap has to be in it, right? And I fucking hate Claptrap. But in order to make it a genuine Borderlands experience, that's the first character that the players interact with. I had them, they show up on a train station, so instead of a bus like in all the other games, they have to ride a train first. And that's the first thing that they see is Claptrap is like the conductor of the train. And it's just like one car of a train, so they step on, and then you see in all the seats on the train, there's just a bunch of fucking dead bodies because Claptrap doesn't have any friends because no one likes him, so all he does is just like collect dead bodies to put on his train, which I thought was like both morbid and also hilarious, which is what I was going for. And then like they just like literally are in a bandit fight right off the bat, just because Borderlands is like a lot of shooting people. So I was kind of leaning into like there's going to be combat like a lot. And that's kind of what the main mission was too. I modeled it after, if you've played Borderlands 2, one of the first side missions is the Assassinate the Assassins mission, where you go into this like bandit camp and there's 3 assassins there that you kill, and they have different drops and stuff, and they're like mini bosses, so they all have like a bit of mechanics to them and stuff. So that's what the first mission was. They went to this bandit camp and like had side quests to do while they were there, and just fought like a series of mini bosses that they then ended up just totally ignoring one of them, which was funny.
That was really funny.
But yeah, so it was Borderlands theme. All the characters were really cool because my character was just like the soldier character because he was supposed to be the DMPC who was kind of boring. But then Alex played the Siren because there's always a Siren, and Alex is a Siren main, so of course he had to be that one.
Yep.
And all the characters had this like quirky thing to them. So if I remember correctly, your siren was also narcoleptic.
Yep. She slept a lot. In our first encounter, I actually, on my first turn, just fell asleep. And everyone ignored me, which was hilarious.
And you know why? There's no reason why. It was just because it's funny.
Yep.
So then our other two characters one was a drunk sniper that had a gun cane, which was pretty fucking cool. He's just like he had like a walking stick that was his sniper rifle, which I just thought was a cool like character concept. And then our third character was someone who is like bandit turned vault hunter, kind of like Krieg in Borderlands 2. Except she was a female bandit who had like a machine gun, and then she also had her lore was like she grew up in this like weird biodome type thing. So like she like had this thing for machines where she had like metal teeth and would like eat robots and shit. It was just like I don't remember all of her backstory because that character was just wild. So she had metal teeth and ate robots, and then she had these like puppet marionette hand things.
Yep.
So she could like control stuff. It was really cool.
Yeah, she had a craving for metal. That's for sure. And she was also crazy. And
yeah, she was a psycho. So like they're actually just fucking
it made for some very, very interesting experiences in which when I'm role playing I would just I could just like randomly fall asleep and it's in character. And then we have our psycho just say random things in the middle of the conversation because that's a thing.
Because that's what they do.
Yeah.
So yeah, writing for that was super fun. Just like I said, I probably would tend to make references to other games and stuff if I were to write anything. But since Borderlands kind of just does that naturally, it felt real natural for me to kind of do that in this setting. So like. There was a bunch of Destiny references in it. My character was basically just Lord Shaxx from Destiny, which was funny. I had like the Bar character who was supposed to be like the Moxie equivalent from Borderlands. She was a Gerudo chick from The Legend of Zelda, and like the mechanic character was Alex Vance from Half-Life 2. Like so all the characters are literally just rip-offs of other characters.
Hey, you know what? If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Then I had a gunsmith character because the area that the characters went to was basically just the tower from Destiny 1. Like I said, I made the gunsmith was also a psycho, so like you had no idea what the fuck he was saying ever. But he had this weird thing where he could tell what guns people wanted by looking at them. So like they walked up, and I don't even remember why. Our guy who's playing the sniper character decided that he wanted to harvest all of the thumbs off of the bandits that they killed on the way there. So he had just like a sack of thumbs in his backpack. So then they went up to the gunsmith guy who was also like a psycho. So he's like also a former bandit, and he just plopped the sack of thumbs on his desk, and he's like, "Hey, what can I get for this?" So the guy picks up the sack of thumbs, and he's like, "All right," and then he shuts his store door and then puts a "be back in 2 days" sign up. So you're like, "Oh shit, the thumbs were literally a usable currency? What the actual fuck?" So they were gonna have to go back after they had done their mission to like get some rewards from them because apparently that was a suitable payment. And then we never played the campaign again, so I guess we'll see what happens.
We'll have to figure out in the future.
I'll have to find more people that like Borderlands.
Yeah, right.
Because it's like fun to make jokes like that, but when you like know about the media you're making fun of, it makes it way more funny.
Oh yeah.
So,
oh yeah.
That's what made the anime campaign so good, is that we knew you were making fun of a bunch of anime, so it made it funnier when we just like got the jokes.
Yep.
So like that would, I guess, be a good segue into like what we like to do to add things in that we think would be fun for players. It's like I said before, knowing your audience is a good part, because then you just like know everybody's sense of humor and know what they'll like.
Yeah.
And then just like playing to that and in the setting. Because I've seen a lot of like, I don't remember what it was exactly, but I saw like a podcast or an interview with Matt Mercer, like one of the guys from the Critical Role podcast where they do D&D and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's something that he said is like, don't be afraid to just like have a conversation with your players before you even start. Be like, yo, how serious or funny do you want this to be? What type of setting? Because like you can have like the main themes of a campaign down and just kind of put them into any setting and tweaks and stuff.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to have that conversation ahead of time. Be like, yo, I got this idea for our Borderlands campaign. It's gonna be stupid as fuck. Is that cool? And everyone's like, yeah, I don't give a fuck. And then you just fucking run with it after that. So.
Yep. And I definitely did do that. Was it that's stuff that we've definitely done though. Every time we have an idea, we're like, hey, we always sit or we always talk to each other. And it's like, hey, like, how serious are we looking to make a campaign, or how hard do we want it to be? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, because there's even a difficulty conversation that I think is pretty important, because like some people like understand and don't mind that there's like risk of player death in campaigns, because that like adds some gravity to all the decisions that you make and stuff.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, there's some people that like put a lot of time and effort and research and, you know, blood, sweat, and tears into their characters, and it would suck if they had to die and they had to start over and remake something else.
Right.
And both are fine, but you have to like know ahead of time so you can plan as the DM. Like, oh, are my players okay with and expecting to die?
Mm-hmm.
Fine, I just gotta make that a possibility then. Because if it's like players are like willing and ready and expect to die in campaigns, and then it's just like super easy, then that's kind of like a mismatch of expectations. Then it could be like hardcore players could find a campaign like that boring, but
right.
Players that are like, I spent 4 months researching the lore of this character because I'm like putting all this time into it because I think it's fun. I don't want to have to like re-roll a character 2 sessions in.
Yeah.
You know, kind of thing. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And also,
I don't know where I fall on that though. I probably err on the side of I'd rather play the same character throughout a campaign because it's more fun.
Yeah.
But I haven't played in like a hardcore ass campaign before either. So
yeah. Probably say that I just err on the the side of I put my time into my character and I want to see my character grow.
That's what I like too, because then you can like even in campaigns where you like start off weak, it's cool to like level up and like, oh, I can do this now.
Yeah.
But if you die every 2 sessions, then you're kind of not getting that.
Yeah, it's also a thing on like I don't mind when I don't mind when there's difficulty thrown. I find it difficult to when there's like I don't mind that when there's like a random difficult segment, because that's like, you know, that's generally okay. But I don't think I would enjoy playing a campaign that was like always difficult, personally. And I also personally don't think that I would find that fun to run.
Yeah, I would feel like that I'm like being an asshole all the time, where I'm like, they try to do something and then they're like, okay, roll for it, and like the checks are just so high, it just feels just like a stat check filled campaign, and stat checks are never that interactive in other games. It's just like I'm doing everything right, but my numbers aren't high enough, and that just like feels bad.
Yeah.
Sometimes, so I don't know.
Yeah. Definitely learned a lot from when I first DM. That's for sure.
Yeah, you just figure out, you know, what is too hard, and that always changes.
What's too hard? Was it you learn how to go with the flow, stuff like that. Finding things to add, though, I mean, it's pretty easy. I'd say that it can be pretty easy if you already have the theme and you know you have your ideas. You can just kind of look at ideas that you've seen before and use them. Put your own little twist on them. You know, you've made your character. You know, if you created the world and you created all these characters, you can use those characters in place of like whatever you were thinking about, which is a lot of what I did.
Yeah. That's something that I did as well. The strategy that I was kind of going with was I'm just basing like the big plot points off of an already established story that I know pretty well. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I ever told Alex this, but the main like plot beats of my campaign were gonna be basically the plot of Legend of Zelda Wind Waker,
Yeah.
where there's this was the evil that was happening, this is the thing that starts the conflict, this is the primary goal, and then there's going to be like a shift in responsibility that kind of put the players off of their original goal onto this bigger like life threatening one
Mm-hmm.
with like some video gamey bullshit in the middle. So
Yeah. Was it? I mean, my nothing I did was like super duper original either. The anime was set in like different arcs, just like in any anime. So our first arc was the tournament arc, obviously, because every anime had to have a tournament arc. That tournament arc had a random bad guy at the end of it because I was like, well, I feel like I need some random bad guy to come and crash the school at some point and make a bigger plot point happen. And then that ended up leading to, I believe, the bigger school tournament arc, if I remember correctly.
I think yeah, there was like a we had to send our school's representatives, so we fought like within the school and then went to like the inter school like big one.
Yep. And then from that point, it was we had the Miku random Miku encounter special, which was funny.
In crossover episode.
Yep. Yeah, I got those crossover episodes because then we started doing some weird world traveling.
Yeah, there's like portal jumping going on and
Yeah.
like alternate dimension bullshit.
Yeah, because I wanted that to be, or I wanted to see how that went, and that's where we ended up ending there. But
Nice.
I mean, what the tournament arc I had taken because I really enjoyed Chivalry of a Failed Knight. That was that part. The wider school range was the plot
That's a
point
good
of
show.
Irregular Magical High School because that is one of the arcs. Is all the schools coming together and having a competition essentially. And then the world jumping, I essentially made kind of episodic, right? Because I could do that whenever we're like jumping into a different world. So when we met Miku, I essentially took a bunch of different things together. But I think the main plot was I essentially took like the Tron world and put Miku in it, except it was PlayStation themed, which was funny.
Which was really stupid. We're not gonna get into that. Oh, wait. But
I trolled the fuck out of you guys.
yeah, stupid talking doors, not unlocking. Okay, I'm still emo.
I think everyone was really triggered at the end of it, but I thought it was hilarious.
My God. So we've talked a little bit about what our creative process is like. We both kind of do something similar where we kind of take inspiration from other established things that we enjoy, kind of put our own spin on them, stuff like that. So a question that I'd be interested to hear your answer in is like after you've done the creative process and you're like running the campaigns and stuff, what do you feel like went like really well and what maybe didn't go so well in the sessions that you were doing?
The very first session that I had, well, I can't really say anything about the very first session that I ever ran because that was more of a DM learning experience. I would say that what went well was the role playing during the tournament arc, the school tournament arc. I think the role playing there went well. I think that but what didn't go too well, I definitely could have worked on how many combats were going on during the time because we were like, essentially it would be, during those sessions, it would be like everyone would be role playing their day and then there would be a fight. And then like after that fight, then we would go and role play again and then there would be another fight for like another hour. So it's like there were just like long battles in between like these short roleplay sessions that just kind of like sucked I'm not gonna lie. I think it was probably bad on my part because I planned out, was the session to be similar to that, and that was like, I think that ran for like 2 or 3 sessions because we had to go through an entire tournament. The worst part though was watching the player versus player combat that had to happen at the end, right? Because there were only 2 players at the end that could make it, and how long that took was, I definitely could have done. I feel like I probably could have done better for that. Try and plan it out a little bit differently. Oh, and then the random bad guy too. He was boring, and I definitely could have written him better.
He was boring.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I don't even remember who it was.
It's because he got one shot.
Yeah.
You guys all combined into one-shotting him with the power of friendship.
Well, I mean, it's an anime, so
Yeah.
like,
yeah. I'd say, I think I was thinking through my Pathfinder campaign, and I was like, you know what? I enjoyed a lot of it. I think some of the dialogue probably could have been better, but that just comes with experience, I believe.
I think so too. I feel like I only ran the one campaign, so I have a little less experience.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually probably had a similar problem to you. The way the structure of my one session was, it was like a lot of role play at the beginning because you were like meeting each other and meeting new characters, and going around the tower where like all the NPCs and stuff were. So you got to talk to a lot of people.
Yeah.
But it was pretty like railroaded because it was the first session. I wanted to at least get like the interjecting point, start the conflict first before I kind of let you do your own thing.
Yeah.
So it was a little handholdy, a little railroady at the start.
Mm-hmm.
Just because like you could go and talk to people, but they basically all just said, "Oh, hey, make sure you talk to the boss first," and it's just so I could get you to talk to the boss NPC. And then after all of that, it was basically like a gauntlet of fights, which, in hindsight, now looking back on it, and like some of you guys were telling me, like that many fights in a row just felt like it took forever. Even if it didn't, it just felt long.
Yeah.
So I kind of had a similar problem to you in that, like over planning combat.
Yeah.
Just because I had not actually like structured anything or written any or DM'd or anything before. So
yeah. I think that
that was also a learning experience for sure.
Yeah, I think that combat scenarios tend to, or the way that you think a combat scenario will go will never end up going the way that you think it is. So that's why it ends up like turning out longer than expected. Or sometimes they'll just crit the boss and then he dies immediately. And you're like, oh well, still got like more that we could do. But something that I do think went well though was I for the anime Fate, I think that the introduction to or the first session, I feel like actually went kind of well in the way of how it introduced a bunch of characters, like it introduced all your characters and then a bunch of other kind of side characters that we see very often, and then the first battle was to kind of like set the tone for one of the other side characters, because she got called Princess Pancake after.
I remember that, yeah. Literally just flattened with a fucking great hammer.
Yep.
Amazing.
Yeah. But like, I thought that was funny, and I wanted things to go in a certain way. I definitely did. The downside was, I had a similar problem to what you were talking about just then. Was that like it felt kind of railroady because it was like the first session, and I'm trying to like get you guys to do certain things right away, but.
Yeah,
that was fun. Like after that, I definitely learned more, and that's where we get like the random volleyball battle on the beach. Like scenes like that were never planned out, but it just kind of like rolled. We just kind of rolled with it.
Yeah, and I was gonna be super down with like the randomness of stuff happening, just because like Borderlands, all the side quests are just random bullshit anyways.
Yeah,
but
I was
but we only got
that
to
too.
we only got to do one session, so like
Yeah.
I had a bunch of stuff like in mind for
Mhm.
side quests that could have like sparked other things. We just obviously just didn't get a chance to do it. So
Yeah. Was it I liked in my Pathfinder campaign on the random kind of like monster side quests personally. I really enjoyed just randomly coming up with cool items and stuff that people
yeah,
would
there
like
were
randomly
unique
get.
homebrewed items.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where like I could essentially take inspiration from. I could go into a book, look at all the stats for something, and then be like, all right, well, if I'm adding part of these like parts to it, then hey, let's like upgrade someone's thing for going out of the way and doing this. Was it our human barbarian? She was playing she was playing God of War at the time, and she's like, oh, I want an axe like Kratos, and I was like, all right, well, we can do something similar to that in this world and make it justify in some way. And that was the way that I justified it was, hey, go kill this yeti that has this like magic heart, and then we'll find what we can do with it.
Yeah, that's what I liked really about doing the face system, is that you can add like stuff into into the game like that, just because of how customizable it is, because there's no set like character sheet. You kind of like there's like certain things with like stress boxes and how you take damage and stuff, but all of like your feats and skills and stuff are custom,
Yeah.
which is what I really liked about like it made sense to do a homebrew campaign in that system, because you're making the story, so might as well make like the literal rules of the game like
Yeah.
custom also.
Yeah.
And that's what I really liked, and that's what I liked about the anime Fate campaign too. Was it was like the magic anime, like you were saying, and all there's like a list of skills that Fate uses, just like any other tabletop system. Like in Fate, there's like athletics and strength and physique and will and notice and all this stuff. And so we tied our magic to one of the skills, and that was a unique way to do like if you're a combat based magic user, you don't have to use fight to fight things.
Yeah.
So because we had someone who like my guy was like a wind magic guy, and he used his wind magic with like movements of his body, so he used athletics to fight people, which isn't usually what you do.
Yeah.
And
But
then yeah, our other guy who was like the shadow assassin, he used stealth as his fight skill
yeah,
instead of using fight to do it. So
yeah, just like in any of the other tabletop RPGs, you're using the skill to like justify things, but it also added like that benefit of now you can use your magic to justify why you can do something. Um, so like instead of walking up and slashing someone with a sword, he could be like, hey, I'm going to because I'm agile because of my magic, and I can also like fire wind blades out. So that's where you would like do something like that. Or with the stealth, you're like, I'm going to sneak up behind this guy and stab him in the fate system. Then we're like, oh yeah, that's cool because it's tied to his magic, which is like shadow, and then that's how you could do that. But I did enjoy finding a way to tie an additional aspect to the characters.
yeah, and I was gonna say too, that's because like it's homebrew, so you can add those things to the character sheets, and like for the for the Borderlands one, we were gonna eventually have like aspects that were like part of your gear, because like your gear and like items is basically why you play Borderlands, just to get like legendaries and stuff. So I was gonna try and add that into like your legendary shield or grenade or something was like part of your character, and that was like something that you could like swap out and change over time, because like in like a lot of D&D type systems there's like character progression, but it's just like you at level 1 you have this, and then at level 5 you have your level 1 thing and your level 5 thing, and they kind of just like compound on each other.
Yep.
But for the Fate one, I was gonna do something where it was like gear, where you could like take a part off to put a part on kind of thing. And that's just like it's homebrew, so you can just make your own shit. So I thought that was just really fun.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Was it homebrewing campaigns are not easy, but it can it can lead to a lot of like fun and interesting things if you have ideas. Um, I know that the Fate, or not the Fate, the Pathfinder one had a bunch of like random homebrewed items. Um, I talked to the players too about like, hey, like if you have any sort of custom feats or ideas for like special abilities for yourself, like run it by me because I'm interested. Like you recently watched a like a movie where the dude has like this sick ass power, and you kind of like are thinking, wow, that looks cool, and I kind of want to make a character with that. Then let if you have a DM that's like, yeah, just like let me know, we'll work on it. Most people are like that though. Most people who will DM are kind of like that and lenient like that.
Hell.
And it just makes the overall experience more fun, honestly.
I think it's a good segue into one of the last things we'll talk about here. I don't know how we're doing on time, but I'm interested in if you're working on anything currently or have any ideas for future campaigns. I know there's a bit of something in the works for revamping Anime Fate with our new friends who are new to D&D.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're working on currently, is trying to redo some ideas for that.
Yeah. I initially, when we had taken our trip, was then coming back, I had some more ideas for Anime Fate to sort of revamp it, change it around a little bit, make it a little bit more, make the world and the story more interesting. I would like to revisit the Pathfinder campaign as well, because
I would like for you to do that, because we did that one a little less, but it was really fun.
Yeah, the overall like plot, I never got around to the overall plot, which is unfortunate, and I actually really liked the characters that I used for that, and the overall world. That was fun. There was another idea I had brewing around at some point. There is a one-shot campaign that my friend is running right now. He's running a Cursed Convention campaign where it's essentially an anime convention, but set in a fantasy world, and it's extremely memey because he also worked as a person who helped in the convention.
As convention staff.
Yeah, he was one of the convention staff, so he can make like a bunch of jokes making fun of like everything about a convention, which is really funny. And plus, like, everyone who's playing has also gone to a convention before, so it makes it even funnier. I would like to do something similar to that, just probably set more in a modern world and random events happening, because you know what, we're playing D&D. I have no, in a one shot, I feel like I have no reason to try and justify anything to my players that I have right now. So
yeah, it's less of a commitment. So
yeah.
yeah.
But I'm currently working on that because I think that would be very funny, and a good way to was to show people, like the new people, on seeing whether or not they would be interested in committing in a long-term campaign. But otherwise, it's probably another fantasy one that I was thinking about, or maybe it was a more modern day one. Probably something in the middle of that, where it's like something around Anime Fate, maybe, of like modern day, except plot's gonna be a little bit different, and the overall the overall world will probably be different too.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things you can do with that, like, shell of like it's an anime, So it
Yeah.
can basically
Oh!
be whatever. So
That's what the idea was. It was a idea on your get stuck in a video game kind of idea. That was the idea. That was the other idea I had.
Interesting.
Because was it there was a because I like that idea. Like that's the reason why I enjoyed watching Sword Art Online was because the first season was, hey, like you are stuck in this game, right? And it is an MMO, so there's like rules to it. But I also watched the I also watched Bofuri, which is which was a anime based in an MMO where like the rules just didn't make any sense, so like the main character just breaks them all the time, and I thought that would be kind of funny. So
because that's a show where she like maxes out her defense, so she never gets hit by anything.
yeah, she never gets hurt, which is hilarious.
That is really funny.
But it was supposed to be kind of like set in that where the players would create their characters, and then they're all like they all have a reason to like try out this video game, and then but it turns out that they are now just stuck in the video game until they can complete it, and that was gonna be interesting because I had like a whole thing that I had all planned out for that. So there's actually a lot that I've developed for that, which is
nice.
Which is a possibility that we can do too.
Yeah, I'm down for whatever, dude. So
maybe that'll sound more interesting to our friends, but we'll see.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Some future plans. I'm excited.
Yeah. Those are that's something that I have in the works right now, but obviously the thing that's taking out priority is the Cursed Convention.
Yeah, if it's a one shot, that's less work required in the front end. So
yeah, I'm just gonna make as many memes as possible in that. By the way.
Yeah.
Yep. You're gonna see a lot of them, and you know what? It's gonna be funny too because even though you've only gone to a couple, like less than a handful, like you'll get it.
What, like 2 or 3 ones have I been to?
Yeah,
so.
you'll get it because it'll be it'll be based on my experiences. Yeah. As for the anime Fate campaign, I'll probably look into. We'll see how Fate ends up handling everything still, or whether or not I decide to go a different route.
Switch to 5e or Pathfinder or something.
Yeah, potentially. Even if I decide to use a different system, if you're playing in a campaign that I've made in Homebrewed, there's going to be some sort of stupid special rule set where I'm just going to be like, hey, guess what? Everything that you know about this, throw it out the window because we ain't using that, son. You're in Torqueland now.
You're in Torqueland now, sucker.
But like that's because that's who I am. That's what I like to do. I just like to make shit up. That's all. I just find it fun. I mean, when you came to me like, oh man, look at this whole. I could be a holy shotgun. I was like, yeah, dude, that sounds cool. Pog, do it.
Do it. Are there rules for it? Don't matter. Do it anyway.
Yeah. It's like, what are the rules for it? Oh man, it's like, don't worry about it. Is it fun to you? Do it.
Can I add smite damage to shotgun pellets? You fucking bet.
Oh, that was the first thing that we remedied with your weapon with our first hunt. I remember that.
It was something with like the cartridges or something.
Yeah, you got cartridges. Was it so you didn't have to individually load your weapon? Because I remember you had to like every time you fired you had to like reload. So then we remedied that problem with the magazine and cartridges off the monster.
I do remember that now. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the kind of stuff that like I enjoy writing into it. And then as for Anime Fate, I might end up changing up how the world works a little bit. Because I've read more into other like the animes that I was basing around worlds, so I might try and like change it up and incorporate kind of. I liked how it was and how interesting it was, so I might look more into that, and incorporating that into the world compared to how it was before. Yeah, there's not too much to change about the Pathfinder one, I would think, because I think we only got like 3 sessions in. So
I don't remember. Something like that though.
I think we only got 3 sessions in, and we didn't even get to the main plot line. So
yeah, we were like, oh wait, side quests?
Yeah. So like, there's not too much. I already know what I wanted to do and where I wanted the thing to go, so we'll figure that out.
Interesting.
But that's what I have planned. You have anything planned?
Kinda. I've been toying around with some ideas that I don't know if it's multiple ideas or I don't know if it's one idea that I could put everything into.
Mm-hmm.
A while ago, I was just like I was reading the lore behind Magic the Gathering and a lot of the famous stories that are in like that world, just because it's been around for forever and there's a lot of cool stories.
Yeah.
And one that I thought was really cool, and there's actually just like there's a book written about it, where like it's the story of 2 famous characters, Urza and Mishra, who are brothers. And then there's literally just like a Magic the Gathering novel written about these characters and their story. It's called The Brothers' War.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like it's a really interesting, really cool story that's like starts off really small, obviously, because they just start off as kids.
Yeah.
And the story takes place over like a bunch of different planes, like where the magic stories take place, different worlds, basically, a bunch of different planes, a bunch of different famous people they interact with, just because they're like magical beings and planeswalker. Or I think Urza's a planeswalker, Mishra's not, but so they're just like they're around for forever, and they start this war basically after being brothers, and this like ancient evil kind of corrupts one of them, corrupts Mishra into being this kind of like inhuman monstrosity kind of thing who ends up dying. So then Urza is like researching into this ancient evil to try and see if he can save his brother, but in his like obsession of trying to defeat this evil, he kind of like becomes obsessed with it, and it's just such an interesting, cool story that I want to like do an interpretation of. But then also I have this weird idea of doing a heavy metal themed campaign where all of the characters and plots and like the soundtrack is just like metal music that I like.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like I listen to a lot in the car on the way to work and shit, and I'm listening to like Megadeth radio on Pandora, and and this song comes on. I'm like, bro, this like, why does a boss fight theme just pop into my head when I'm hearing fucking Tornado of Souls by Megadeth? Like, this would be such a cool idea. Or like I just have this, if you like listen to the song by Metallica, it's called King Nothing. I just get this image in my mind of this like ancient castle where you walk in and literally there's nothing in the castle, but if you look up, it's a tower that's like hundreds of stories tall, and you can see all the way up to the top, and there's just nothing in the castle. But there's like this like magic that's kind of like concealing what's really happening inside, and like the king's at the top and you don't know what's happening. And I'm like, I just get all these ideas in my head just by listening to like Metallica and Avenged Sevenfold and shit. Like,
oh man,
there's like literally, if I were gonna do this campaign, I already know what the theme song of the campaign is, and it's an Avenged Sevenfold song. Like, it's like I don't know exactly how it would go, or like, because it's hard to like have like background music for a campaign for boss battles and stuff when there's like also lyrics.
Yeah,
like that. Yeah. Like, it's hard for me to like focus and like read my character sheet and talk to other people when there's lyrics in the background. So that would be something that I'd have to wrestle with.
Oh man, you just gave me You just gave me a really funny idea.
But like, yeah, I'm just thinking of like a metal themed campaign where everyone's just like fucking every single dude in the campaign is like 6 foot tall and has a beard and a fucking electric guitar.
I'm gonna
Like,
I'm
so
gonna make a
I don't know.
DDR themed one shot campaign.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not going to be a music themed campaign. It's just going to be all the
Oh yeah, it's just gonna
aesthetics.
be a reference and aesthetics thing. Yeah.
All the aesthetic is just going to be metal.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to be like I battled this guy by doing guitar solos at him. Like it's not music themed. It's just like
you playing guitar,
which would be sick, which would be cool. But that's not what I'm going for. It's going to be like a high fantasy campaign. It's just everything is just metal.
You're gonna be Brutal Legends, if you remember that game.
Yeah, but he like fights with an electric guitar, and that's a little
That's
too
an
stupid.
axe.
But it's a little too stupid.
Yeah.
Just imagine it's Dark Souls, but instead of like orchestral music for the boss themes, it's just fucking guitar riffs and double bass pedals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you.
And that's kind of the idea. I kind of like so I listen to that kind of music just because I like it. So I listen to it all the time. So I'm always like I have a list of just songs that I want to use for something, but I don't know what the something is yet.
Ah, yeah, that's right. We talked about was it wanting a DMPC for the one-shot campaign too? Shit, I gotta make a. No, wait, I don't have to make a DMPC. I can just be me. Oh.
It could be, if it's going to be a cursed convention, it could just be you, Alex, is at the convention.
Exactly.
Like...
yeah. All right. Well, I'm glad we figured that out.
All right. Well, now I guess we got some even more ideas to play with.
All right. I think that's
it. Unless you have anything else you want to say, I just wanted to kind of geek out a little bit more about kind of some of the homebrews we've done, just because they're so fun. And you did one recently, and that's sparked all these new ideas that we both have now. So.
Oh yeah, dude! Can't wait to play this weekend.
Yeah, we're already planning on doing. We're doing the one shot this weekend, right?
Yeah, we should be planning on doing the one shot this weekend.
Should be exciting.
That'll be exciting. That'll be fun. Character creation should be pretty easy.
Yeah, I actually haven't played a tabletop RPG in a while.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun to do that over again, revisit some characters.
Yeah. But I think that's it for that.
Awesome. Sweet.
Pog.
What's our random fact of the day?
Did you know that Vaporeons are technically the most compatible with humans if they were to mate?
Vaporeons?
Yeah. The Pokemon?
What? Yeah, why?
It's something to do with their 3-9 or something like that. They're considered technically one of the I don't know. It was something stupid that I had heard when I was watching a YouTube video today.
Weird.
My random fact or my random saying of the day is, hey, if you're playing OSRS, do your tree runs and do your birdhouse runs. Because they're important, and you're gonna thank me later.
I'm gonna do a birdhouse run fucking immediately after we hit stop recording. So.
Yep, I agree. I'm going to too. It's getting hot in my room.
It's getting hot in my room too.
All right. Wow.
Trying to turn the AC on.
Anything else?
I was trying to think if I had a random fact, but I don't know if I do. Did you know that every Ganondorf is the same guy?
Yes. I did.
Oh. Well, I hope someone else learned something else today. Every Ganondorf in the Legend of Zelda series is just the same guy.
Here's a random fact that I now remember because I'm seeing an Azure Lane character in front of me. The USS Enterprise is called. God, is that the fucking? Oh god, I can't remember it. Never mind. It's over.
That doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter anymore. We're done.
All right, we're done. Thanks so much for listening in. Make sure you do the YouTube stuff. Smile. And remember to say figure it out if the audio isn't good in this episode. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Figure it out.